Hey everyone, it's Libby from Meister Tarot. I'd like to acknowledge the War of my First Nations people and huge hello to you, your guides, my guides, and the universal energies, and don't they feel great today? This is my third attempt at starting this video. I haven't drawn any cards in the previous videos. It's just because I get a little bit soapboxy on this particular issue. I was asked a while ago about looking forward in regards to women's reproduction rights in the US, and obviously being a woman in a fairly liberal Western society, I get on my high horse about a few things, get on my soapbox, and tend to go a bit beyond what is probably required in this particular conversation. So what I'm going to have a look at is women's reproductive rights in the US. Now, what I find really interesting in comparison to Australia, in Australia we have sex education as part of the school curriculum from a fairly young age, age-appropriate reproduction curriculum. It's not sex education, it's not education about sex, it's education about reproduction that is age-appropriate through a lot of the schooling life. So pre-puberty, puberty and post-puberty. And when I say pre-puberty, I have friends whose children as young as 9 have gone through puberty. So we need to get these young women and men as early as possible, just in a discussion. It's not about sex, it's about reproduction and how it happens, and just so it's a non-issue. Okay, off my hobby horse in regards to that. Also in Australia we have fairly easy access, and I'll say easy access, to preventative contraception. It does cost, but it probably costs about $20 every 3 months for a woman to access preventative reproduction. And abortion, although not legislated as legal, it is not legislated as illegal either, so that is also a last ditch option for women. But we have a very low abortion rate here because of the fact that preventative measures are so easily accessible. Condoms can be bought in the supermarket. They don't need to be anything special at a chemist. It's a non-issue in Australia. So I want to have a look why it is such an issue when you're talking about 51% of the population in the US is affected by these archaic legislations. And trust me, the archaic legislations are not about the rights of children, they are about control. So what just popped out there? Interesting though, in a previous shuffle the devil popped out when I was talking about the rights of control. But when I was talking about women here, what's come up is the Knight of Cups. So this is about an offer coming forward, about romance, about can also be the false knight. So this misconception about, putting forward, oh, you won't get pregnant if we have sex this way or something like that, which comes from the lack of education from the girl's point of view. But I think something is going to come forward, but it's going to have to come forward from, okay, thank you, I'm being told, women and the men that support the women. Sadly, the men that support the women are going to have more sway than the women themselves. Okay, let's have a quick look at the future of women's reproductive rights in the US. I have read on this before. I have seen that it is going to come from a federal level, but it is not going to be anytime particularly soon. I think from my previous reading it was going to be in 2024. Okay, what was that? Yep, the sun. It's going to, when I said 2024, yes, the sun. It is going to happen in 2024 from a federal level, but in the meantime, okay, show me. Women's, if you can hear a humming in the background, I've got the air conditioner going. It's one of those days in Australia. Women's reproductive rights in the US. Thank you. Right, come on down, let's have a look. Okay, at the moment, it is very much a crossroads. It's a crossroads moment legally and intellectually. There is no. When I say intellectually, there's knowledge of what needs to be done, but it is legally this crossroads moment. Challenged by, it's all about control. The seedy underbelly being brought to the surface and exposed, and it needs to be talked about. It is a natural process. We're all here because of sex. We're all here because our parents and our grandparents and our great-great-grandparents made choices or had a nookie at a particular time. We're here literally by chance. 30 seconds earlier and 30 seconds later, I wouldn't exist. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be, the ickiness needs to be dispelled. The discussion needs to be brought to the surface so it can be exposed and dealt with about the real reasons behind the fear of sex education. Now, I'm going to get on a little quokka moment here. The countries that have a robust sex education policy, and I'm talking about the Scandinavian countries, I'm talking about Australia, New Zealand, we have a significantly lower unwanted birth rate. We have a significantly lower abortion rates. We have lower, I was going to say single mums, but that's not really true because we have a lot of women in relationships who choose to have a children and then for whatever reason the relationship breaks up. But we have those that actually have robust education and preventative access have significantly lower abortion rates and unwed, how do I put it, teenage mothers. Okay. Base of this reading, it is about women's rights, women's independence, women's right to choose for themselves. But it is about independence as well, because when you think about it, that if you are a young woman and you have an unwanted pregnancy at 17 where you barely, if at all, have finished high school, your choices are restricted, can be restricted. Hang on, I'll just pause you for a second. Hey, back again. Sorry about that. Had a call. Okay, so what we're talking about, the women's US reproductive rights. So, yeah, it's very much about women regaining their independence. Very much. And their financial independence as well. This is the foundation of the whole concept of women having control over their reproductive rights. In the past, 8 of Pentacles, choices having to be made. And choices have been made. But also the choices are quite interesting. They're choices about education. These are women's choices. That's what I'm getting. It's not the choices being made for women. These are the choices that women have made and have to make. And these are the choices that have been made in the past. Wealth, education. What else have we got there? Having a look at it. Power, just all those. It's at the end of the day, and I'm going to be really honest here, at the end of the day, reproductive rights are a woman's choice, because you can say to a bloke, nah, not going there, not happening, and then of course then you start getting the men on side. What we've got at the top is the conservative argy-bargy, infighting, the petty playground fighting as everyone is ripping each other down. Well, okay, when I say everyone, this is about, they're all blokes here, ripping each other down to try and seize the control. And that's what, this is the the overarching energy across this reading, this is the foundation of it, but this is what is happening in the here and now. It is about the tearing of others down for control. It's not about building each other up for leadership. It is tearing down for control. The immediate future, magic is going to happen. This is about women taking control of their independence of their lives. This is messaging being put out there. This is an opportunity in the immediate future for magic to happen. The externally, we have the legal system here. Tis masculine energy because sadly at the moment the federal government and federal legal system is very much a masculine energy, even with the women that are in it. But this is a compassionate, wise, protective masculine energy. So that's really good. So externally, going forward, is this masculine energy. Internally, it is about the spirituality of the women. It is about women coming into their own power internally. Because I'm going to be really honest, this is, even though the laws are being made, at the end of the day, it is about women having control of their bodies by simply saying no. Okay, hopes and fears. Queen of Cups, beautiful. Calm, diplomatic, logical, immersed in the emotions of it, but bringing forward this amazing power. It is about women in their own power making this happen. Strength, women in their strengths. Facing, this is the abuse of power. Win at all costs, masculine energy. Being the swords, this is the deception, betrayal of women, but we have the Four of Wands, and this is coming together in celebration. This is women coming together, supporting women in celebration. However, I'm always drawn on this particular card, yes, prickling in the head, to this, the tent with the dark opening and the temptation of going into that dark opening. This is about staying away. This is about women having to, and you notice the Four of Wands are around that tent with that dark opening. So the messaging is, okay, thank you guys. They're telling me that the messaging that is being put out there is not productive to women. It is quite sinister and temptation. It is not what is good for women. This is this energy. So we need to stay in the light with the celebration. It is a time of anxiety for women. It is a time of heartbreak and loss. But call on the support of your men and your families, and you can make magic happen. Magic will happen. We have actions and consequences. Actions will lead to consequences. The giving and receiving help. Women need to support women. And okay, this help may be that those that are in a more liberal state buy contraceptive for women that aren't and send it to them. It might be offering to open your home if somebody has to travel for a reproduction operation. This is women helping women in whatever way you can. We then have the Page of Wands coming forward. It is the youth that are going to lead this charge, and it is the messaging from the youth. This is about the next card, the Five of Swords, complements the Seven of Swords here. It is about, very much about lies and deceit, but the mental anxiety that is brought upon women by this. However, I'm always drawn in this card to this figure in the background. with this opening up to the universe and allowing the universe to supply the answer. And we know what the answer is. Women, standing up for women, moving on, celebration, unity, and an ending of an era so that we can start something new, very much about planting the seeds now and nurturing them. Okay, that's from the woman's point of view with the reproduction rights. Sorry if I seem a little distracted. I'm expecting a large delivery for my garden, and they haven't told me what time they're going to arrive. So every time my phone buzzes or a truck drives past, I get a little bit distracted. So I do apologise for that. Okay, but we are determined. We are determined to get this reading out and the word spread. So that was from the woman's point of view. I want to have a quick look from the lawmaker's point of view. So I'm using my mystical manga cards, which are my lawmaker's cards. Perhaps if I have them up the right way. So women's reproductive rights from the lawmaker's point of view. What is going to happen here? What is happening here in the US? Women's reproductive rights legally. So very much the Light Seers is telling us that we have to step into owning this. The women have to step into owning this. We need to, and we do have support of wonderful men in regards to this, and they need to step up as well, because women are 51% of the population. You take in also the men that support this, and you're talking enormous numbers. It is a minority that is dictating this restriction on women, and it is very much about women coming into their power of independence, their power of spirituality, just standing up and saying no, but we need to support our fellow women in regards to this in whatever way we can. Okay, tell me about, even if you can't do financially, if it's just whatever you can do. March, if that's what you can do. Offer a bedroom, if that's what you can do, for a couple of days while a woman goes into state. Offering preventative, offering to send preventative if you can. It is very much about women. Okay, thank you. They're telling me it's about women networking with women. Okay, I shall get off my hobby horse. I'm getting a little bit wound up about this one. Okay, tell me from a legal point of view, US women's reproductive rights. Where are we headed? Women's reproductive rights. Where are we headed? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, we've been legally stabbed in the back, literally. Now, Roe versus Wade wasn't perfect. In fact, it was far, far from perfect. But it was all that women had. And we've been stabbed in the back in regards to it. What is going to come, I have read previously, and I am going to see, is something so much more appropriate and stronger. But this is the energies that we're in at the moment. Literally stabbed in the back, 10 of Swords. But, being a 10, it is the end of an era. The end of an era. It is a culmination, an end of a cycle. The challenge is, or what's crossing this betrayal, is women speaking up. Powerful women, inspired women who are confident in their own skin, who are inspirational to others. Women speaking up. Women becoming involved in the government system, whether it's at your local PTA, school board, helping women to become elected in particular positions in your district, your state. Very much about women, inspirational, confident women speaking up. bringing forth the passion in regards to this issue. At the base, Queen of Cups, so we've got two queens so far regarding this betrayal, end of an era. So we've got the orator and we've got the compassionate, diplomatic, calm, emotionally soothing queen, but she does have something in her cup that she is bringing forward that has not yet been revealed. Woohoo! Okay, in the past, the Wheel of Fortune. Yes, this is about those on top ending up on the bottom and those on the bottom ending up on top. This was about closing of doors, opening of new doors. This was the Roe versus Wade decision, where it became really apparent that the Wheel of Fortune was shifted on women unexpectedly. Knew it was coming but didn't think it was going to happen unexpectedly. Okay, crowning this reading, Page of Cups. Something out of left field, completely out of left field, is going to be presented, brought forward by the youth. Almost a bombshell is going to be brought forward by the youth. So those of us that are a little bit older, we need to support whatever this youthful stance is that is coming forward, and we have the two older females here. We need to really support them. Immediate future restrictions, so I'm not seeing it's going to get worse before it gets better. I'm really sorry. And it is going to be mental anxiety, and there are going to be women who feel like they just are absolutely powerless and have no control through legislation that is coming forward in several states, and we know what states they are. Externally, loss, disappointment, emotional loss and disappointment, sadness, but there are two cups still standing, and we need to grasp those two cups and move forward with them. There is a path there. There is a path there in what can be greatness, moving forward, new beginning. But we need to take up the challenge of these two cups that are still remaining. Instead of lamenting what is lost, we need to look at what we have, pick them up and move them forward. Okay, sorry if I'm getting a little bit wound up here. It's very close to my heart, this. Internally, death. What level am I reading this on? This is very much about authentic reform coming forward. But I think what's going to happen is it's going to take, okay, thank you guys, it's going to take deaths to catapult the lethargy into making something happen. But it is also about a really dramatic ending of a cycle and the birth of something new internally. This is about the power of women coming into their own and bringing about authentic reform. So this is from a political point of view. I'm being told there's going to be some quite significant court cases brought forward, holding legislative officials responsible for deaths, specific deaths, that is going to bring about this authentic reform. Okay, hopes and fears. This is from the legal point of view. Things are going to be seen from a different point of view, and this current decline into authoritarian, patriarchal, whatever you like to call it, is going to be paused. It's going to be paused. It's not actually going to be switched as of yet. What we have is the outcome. We have this devil energy. Now remember, I told you in one of my first readings when I was talking about this, I flipped over this devil energy. I don't know that you need me to explain this, but what it is it's literally chained to toxic control, all about control and greed and It's holding women and men captive purely for power, for power. It's an awful card. Despair, moral corruption, but also despair, outcast, financial outcast, but also health-wise outcast. So this is the banning of any form of conception, whether it be preventative or abortion. This is the despair of women in regards to their own health. But here is the strength card again. The strength of women giving and receiving help in the face of this abuse of power, this win at all cost. Here is the Empress. She is about fertility, but she is about bringing forward something new in regards to fertility and new boundaries being set as this messaging is brought forward, and we have this Ace of Swords, a new beginning. Again, we're having repeat cards, the Magician, the manifesting of possibilities through this call to arms by the voters, by the families, by the women, and the support of men. Again, we have, well, when I say again, I actually had this card in a reading I deleted because I had 3 cards thrown out at me. They were the Devil, they were the Four of Swords, and it was also the Ace of Cups. But I got on my hobby horse, so I started again. I had both the Devil and the Four of Swords. This is about women having to, this is them having to nurture themselves, bringing forward a plan that is going to break down what is not working for them so that something new can be rebuilt, destructive breaking down of what is not working, the building of a solid foundation. It is one of the few cards where they're actually all standing together and planning, and you have usually it is the worker working on the statue, and you've got the 2 authoritarian churchy figures looking at the plans and making the decisions. This isn't. This is all coming together and making the decisions jointly, building a solid foundation, walking away from what is not serving, exposing the seedy underbelly at this crossroads moment. We have despair, loss and heartbreak. It is a juggling. Remember, this is from the political point of view, but we also have this Four of Wands again about celebration. But beware of any of the messaging that does not serve. Okay, a lot of similar cards coming forward from the political point of view. I'll just have a quick ask of Pendulum just to double check on that previous reading. So it is all about, very much about women making it happen for women with the support of the men that are on the same page. Let's have a look. Okay. Guys, can I ask a question, please? Can I ask a question? Will there be significant change in women's reproduction rights by the US winter solstice? So that's nearly 12 months by the US winter solstice. No, it's not going to happen this year. Will there be significant legislation changes in supporting women's reproduction rights by 2025? By 2025. And that's a yes. Okay, that's supporting a reading I did quite a long time ago that said it's not going to be significant change until after the next presidential election cycle. Okay, thank you for joining me. Stay strong. I really feel for you, but it is about women coming together and demanding their independence, demanding their rights, supporting women, a way that, I'm going to put it out there, and some may disagree, but the way that the patriarchal, toxic masculine, which is not all men, it's only about 10% of the male population, retain control is by pitting people against each other, and they will attempt to pit women against women to divide, and it's about divide and conquer. So please, please be supportive in whatever way you can, and we will get through this. Sending you so much love, positive energy. Things will be okay, but it is going to take a little while. Okay, love to you all. Bye-bye.